All right, the next section we're going to talk about is arranging fractions and decimals in order. And one of the key ideas here is the idea about positive and negative numbers. So we've looked at this number line here. And when numbers get larger, we're used to them becoming bigger. 10 is bigger than 5, 20 is bigger than 10. So as the numbers go this way, they get larger. We've been looking at negative numbers, and negative numbers work kind of in the opposite way. We've been talking about negative numbers as sort of the opposites, or as the mirror image of positive numbers. So here, as the numbers get smaller, the digit itself is larger. So negative 5 is smaller than negative 1, but negative 10 is smaller than that. So as we go this way, we get smaller. So it's sort of the opposite of what you might think. As the numbers get larger, we're used to the values becoming larger too. Here, as the number itself gets larger, the value actually gets smaller. So you might think of it as owing money. If you owe $10, that's worse than if you owe $5. Or if you're digging a hole and you're 10 feet underground, that's worse than if you're only 5 feet underground. Or if you talk about temperature, if you're 10 degrees below zero, that's worse than 5 degrees below zero. So as the digits get larger, the values get smaller. And this is important to think about when we're putting numbers in order from smallest to biggest. So the values we have on our assignment here are negative 45 over 10, negative 45 tenths. We have 3 thousandths. We have negative 5 thousandths. We have 34 hundredths, and 12 36ths. And our assignment is to put them in order from smallest to largest. So one of the things we probably want to do is to convert them either all to fractions or all to decimals. I find decimals are easiest to put in order, so I'm going to convert the ones that are not decimals to decimals. This one already is a decimal, so we'll just move this one down here. This is already a decimal. 3 thousandths is not a decimal, but we can make it into a decimal. 3 thousandths, that kind of says a decimal, 0.003. Negative 45 tenths. 45 tenths is more than enough for one whole because it only takes 10 tenths for a whole. So this is 4 times that. So this would be 4 and 5 tenths, 4.5. So this is negative 4.5. And then this last one here, if we made that into a decimal, 12 over 36, if I made that smaller, this would be 1/3. And 1/3 is one of those fractions that we call a benchmark fraction. That's like one of those fractions that we hopefully will start to learn what that means as a decimal. We know that 1/3 is not something that can easily be converted into a decimal number. It's sort of in between. We know that if you have something and you divide it into 3 parts, it's hard to come up with an equal way of doing that. So for example, if this was 100, we would have 33, and this part would be worth 33, and this part would be 33, but adding them all up, we get 99, so it doesn't quite match up. So we know that this would actually be a decimal that keeps on going if we divided that up. So 1/3 is one of those decimals that we kind of have to just learn. So this one, 1/3, 1 out of 3, it would work out as a decimal to 0.33, and that 3 would keep on going. We go 3, 3, 3. So we talked in class that when we have that, we put 2 decimal places, but we put a line over the last 3 to show that that 3 keeps on going. So we have these decimals, and now we have to put them in order. And if we put them in order, we have some that are positive and some that are negative. I know the negative ones are going to be the smallest, and I know the largest digit that's negative is going to actually be the smallest number. So negative 4.5 is going to be the smallest number. That was this 45 tenths. The next one we're going to have is this negative number, negative 5 thousandths. Then if we had a 0, it would go right here. Then we would start in our positive numbers, and we have this one, which is a very small positive number, 3 thousandths. Then we go up here, and these two are really close, but this one is a bit smaller, 0.333, 33 hundredths or 33 and the continuing decimal, that's smaller, so we put that next. And then the last one is this 0.34. Right, and I can replace these, put these back, put the decimal back in, or the fraction back in. So this one was 12/36, so I could, remind us that that's 12/36. This one was 3 thousandths. That one was already there. This one was 45 tenths. So if you want, you could put those numbers back in there to remind us what they were before we switched them over. So that's putting decimals and fractions in order from smallest to greatest.